In the quiet town of Willow Creek, Jake's perfect life with his wife Sarah and daughter Lily shatters when a child's innocent game reveals a dark secret. A single text message sparks suspicion, unraveling a web of lies. Will Jake uncover the truth and protect his family, or will betrayal destroy everything he holds dear? In Willow Creek, Ohio, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the tidy lawns of a quiet neighborhood. Jake Harper, 35, knelt in the backyard, helping his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, plant marigold seeds in a small garden patch. Her giggles filled the air as she patted the soil with tiny hands, her enthusiasm infectious. "Dad, will these flowers grow as tall as me?" she asked, eyes wide with hope. Jake grinned, brushing dirt from his jeans. "With your green thumb, they'll be giants." Inside the house, Sarah, 33, Jake's wife, tapped away at her laptop, planning a community festival for Willow Creek's spring fair. Her event planning business thrived, booking her weeks solid with client meetings and site visits. Jake admired her drive, but lately, her late nights and distracted demeanor gnawed at him. She'd always been the life of every room, charming clients effortlessly, yet now she seemed distant, her laughter rare. Jake stood, wiping sweat from his brow, and glanced at his watch. "Time to clean up, Lily. Soccer practice tomorrow." As a volunteer coach for Lily's team, he spent weekends teaching kids to dribble and score, earning high fives and respect from parents. The role grounded him, a balance to his demanding job as a solar energy consultant, where he pitched sustainable solutions to local businesses. His latest project, a solar panel installation for the town library, kept him on calls late into the evening, but he never missed Lily's practices. Lily scampered inside, clutching her toy watering can. Jake followed, pausing at the kitchen door. Sarah was still glued to her screen, her phone buzzing beside her. "Everything okay?" he asked, leaning against the counter. She nodded without looking up, her fingers hesitating over the keys. "Just finalizing the festival budget." Her voice carried an edge, sharp and unfamiliar. Jake frowned but let it go, chalking it up to work stress. After tucking Lily into bed, Jake joined Sarah on the couch, hoping to reconnect. He suggested a movie, but she shook her head. "I've got an early meeting tomorrow," she said, standing abruptly. Her phone buzzed again, and she snatched it, tucking it into her pocket before heading upstairs. Jake stared after her, unease settling in his chest like a stone. The next morning, Jake dropped Lily off at school, her backpack bouncing as she waved goodbye. At the soccer field that afternoon, he set up cones for drills, watching the kids chase the ball with reckless energy. Ryan, the head coach, clapped Jake on the shoulder. "Good to have you out here, man," Ryan said, his easy smile disarming. At 30, Ryan was a local favorite, his charisma drawing parents and kids alike. Jake nodded, but his thoughts drifted to Sarah's late nights. During a water break, Lily tugged Jake's sleeve, holding 2 dolls she'd brought from home. "Play with me, Dad," she chirped. She staged a scene, making the dolls dance and talk. Then, in a sing-song voice, she said, "Mommy kisses Coach Ryan." Jake froze, his heart stuttering. "What's that, sweetheart?" he asked, keeping his tone light. Lily giggled, unaware of the weight her words carried. "It's just pretend, Dad, like a movie." Jake forced a smile, ruffling her hair, but his mind raced. "Ryan?" He glanced at the coach, who was laughing with a parent, oblivious. It was just a kid's game, Jake told himself, but the seed of doubt took root. That evening, as Sarah packed her bag for another client meeting, Jake noticed her phone light up with a text. She grabbed it quickly, but not before he caught the name. "Ryan." "Work again?" Jake asked, his voice tighter than he intended. Sarah met his gaze for a fleeting moment, then looked away. "Yeah, a last-minute venue issue," she said, slipping her phone into her purse. She kissed his cheek, the gesture mechanical, and left. Jake stood in the doorway, watching her car disappear down the street. The house felt too quiet, Lily's dolls still scattered on the floor. Unable to shake the unease, Jake opened his laptop and checked Sarah's public calendar, something he'd never done before. A meeting was listed, but the details were vague. No client name, just a time and a coffee shop across town. His pulse quickened. Was she really working? Or was Lily's innocent game hinting at something darker? Jake closed the laptop, his jaw tight. He wasn't the type to snoop, but the coincidence of Ryan's name and Lily's play and Sarah's text gnawed at him. "Tomorrow," he'd pay closer attention, watch Sarah's movements, check her stories. He loved his wife, but trust, once cracked, demanded answers. As he locked the front door, the weight of suspicion settled heavier, pulling him toward a truth he wasn't sure he wanted to face. Jake woke to the sound of his alarm, the weight of last night's suspicion pressing on his chest. He poured coffee, his mind replaying Lily's doll game and the text from Ryan on Sarah's phone. Today, he'd dig deeper. At breakfast, Lily chattered about her school art project, oblivious to the tension coiling in her father. Sarah rushed in, grabbing her keys. "Late for a client pitch," she said, avoiding Jake's gaze. "I'll be back for dinner." Her car peeled out of the driveway before he could respond. At his office, Jake struggled through a solar panel proposal, his focus splintered. He checked Sarah's calendar again. Another vague entry, this time for a consultation at a diner on the edge of Willow Creek. No client name, no details. His gut churned. He texted Sarah, keeping it casual. "How's the pitch going?" Her reply came an hour later. "Running long. All good." The delay felt deliberate, her words hollow. After work, Jake picked Lily up from school. She hopped into the car, clutching a drawing of a sun and flowers. "For you, Dad," she said, beaming. Jake smiled, but his thoughts drifted to Ryan. At soccer practice, he watched the coach closely. Ryan ran drills with the kids, his easy confidence grating now. When Ryan waved at Jake, it felt like a taunt. Jake nodded back, his jaw tight, and decided to act. That evening, with Lily at a friend's sleepover, Jake sat at the kitchen table, Sarah's laptop open. He hesitated. Snooping felt wrong, but the need for truth overpowered guilt. Her email was clean, mostly work-related, but a folder labeled miscellaneous caught his eye. Inside, he found a chain of messages with Ryan, buried under event invoices. They started innocently, scheduling soccer events, but recent ones turned personal. "Can't wait to see you tonight and missed you at the diner." Jake's heart pounded, each word a stab. He cross-checked the dates. The diner consultation aligned with Ryan's message about meeting there. Sarah hadn't been with a client. She'd been with him. Jake slammed the laptop shut, anger surging. He paced the kitchen, debating his next move. Confronting Sarah now might push her to lie more. He needed proof, something undeniable. The next day, Jake dropped Lily at school and drove to the diner from Sarah's calendar. He parked across the street, feeling like a stranger in his own life. At 11 a.m., Sarah's car pulled up. She stepped out, scanning the lot, then hurried inside. Minutes later, Ryan arrived, his stride casual but purposeful. Jake's hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. Through the diner's window, he saw them sit close, Sarah's hand brushing Ryan's arm, their laughter intimate. Jake's phone buzzed, a work call, but he ignored it. He snapped a photo of their cars, time-stamped, and noted the date. Evidence, he told himself, though each second burned. He drove home, mind racing. Sarah's lies were unraveling. But what did this mean for Lily? For their family? He couldn't let this fester. That night, Sarah came home late, claiming a venue mix-up. Jake didn't challenge her, his silence calculated. "Good day," he asked, voice steady. She nodded, distracted, and headed upstairs. Jake waited, then checked her phone while she showered. A new text from Ryan. "Tomorrow, motel on Route 17? Jake's stomach twisted. He memorized the details, his plan solidifying. The following afternoon, Jake told his boss he needed a personal day. He dropped Lily at school, promising ice cream later, and drove to Route 17. The motel was a low, brick building, its neon sign flickering. He parked a block away, watching. At 2 p.m., Sarah's car pulled in. She stepped out, glancing around, then entered room 12. 10 minutes later, Ryan's truck rolled up. He knocked on the door, and Sarah let him in, their embrace brief but unmistakable. Jake's breath caught, rage and pain colliding. He gripped his phone, recording a short video of Ryan entering the room, the timestamp clear. This wasn't just suspicion anymore, it was fact. He sat in his car, heart hammering, debating his next move. Storming in felt tempting, but he needed to protect Lily to handle this right. He drove home, the footage burning a hole in his pocket. That evening, Jake cooked dinner, his calm a mask. Sarah chatted about work, her voice overly bright. Lily, oblivious, asked for extra macaroni. After bedtime, Jake sat Sarah down. "We need to talk," he said, his tone low. She stiffened, eyes darting. "About what?" she asked too quickly. Jake leaned forward, ready to lay out the truth, but held back. Tomorrow, he'd confront her at the motel where lies couldn't hide. For now, he'd watch, wait, and let her think she was safe. Jake barely slept, the motel video replaying in his mind like a relentless loop. At dawn, he kissed Lily's forehead as she ate breakfast, her chatter about a school field trip grounding him momentarily. Sarah rushed out, claiming another client meeting at 1 p.m. Jake nodded, his face a mask of calm, but his pulse raced. Today, he'd confront her at the motel on Route 17. He packed Lily's lunch, drove her to school, and called his office, citing a family emergency. His boss didn't question it. By noon, Jake was parked 2 blocks from a motel, his car hidden behind a gas station. The neon sign flickered, a stark reminder of yesterday's betrayal. He checked his phone. Text from Sarah about her busy day sat unread. The video evidence weighed heavy, but he needed more than proof. He needed to see her reaction, to hear her admit the truth. He gripped a small notebook, jotting down the plan. Confront, stay calm, protect Lily. At 1:05 p.m., Sarah's car rolled into the motel lot. She stepped out, glancing over her shoulder before slipping into room 12. Jake's chest tightened, but he waited. 10 minutes later, Ryan's truck pulled up. He knocked, and Sarah opened the door, their brief hug fueling Jake's resolve. He started his car, drove to the motel, and parked beside Sarah's sedan. His hands shook as he grabbed his phone, the video ready but unplayed. This wasn't about evidence now. It was about facing the lie. Jake strode to room 12, his knock sharp and deliberate. Silence, then hurried whispers inside. The door cracked open, Sarah's eyes widening as she saw him. "Jake, what are you?" Her voice faltered as he pushed past her. Ryan stood by the bed, frozen, his jacket half on. The air was thick with guilt. "What's going on, Sarah?" Jake asked, his voice low but steady, cutting through the tension. She stammered, "It's not what you think." "Don't," Jake interrupted, his gaze locking onto hers. "I saw you yesterday. I have video, texts, dates that match your meetings." He held up his phone, the screen dark but damning. Sarah's shoulders slumped, her breath catching. Ryan shifted, avoiding Jake's eyes, and muttered, "Look, man, let's talk this out." Jake turned to him, voice cold. "You don't get to talk. You're done here." Sarah's hands trembled as she sat on the bed. "Jake, I didn't mean for this to happen," she said, tears forming. "It was a mistake. I was lonely, and Ryan—" Jake cut her off. "Lonely? Well, I'm coaching our daughter's team, working to keep us afloat. You chose this." His words were sharp, each one landing like a blow. Ryan edged toward the door, but Jake stepped in his path. "You're not running. You betrayed my daughter's trust, her team's trust." Sarah sobbed, but Jake's focus didn't waver. "How long?" he demanded. She hesitated, then whispered, 3 months. The confession hit like a punch. 3 months of lies, of stolen moments while he and Lily built sandcastles and planned family dinners. "You broke our family," Jake said, his voice cracking for the first time. "Lily deserves better. We both do." He turned to Ryan, who was inching toward the exit. "You're not walking away clean. I'm reporting you to the school board. Sleeping with a player's mom? That's not just personal. It's professional misconduct." Ryan's face paled, but he said nothing, his silence an admission. Jake looked back at Sarah. "Pack your things. You're not staying in our house tonight." Sarah's voice broke. "What about Lily?" Jake's jaw tightened. "You should have thought of her before you walked into this room." He stepped outside, the motel's stale air replaced by a sharp breeze. His phone buzzed. A text from Lily's teacher about her field trip. The normalcy of it stung. He drove home, mind racing with next steps. Protect Lily, secure their future, expose Ryan's betrayal. At home, Jake called a lawyer friend, outlining the situation. "I need advice on custody," he said, voice steady despite the ache in his chest. The lawyer promised to meet tomorrow, urging Jake to document everything, texts, videos, dates. Jake hung up, then emailed the school board, attaching the motel video and a detailed complaint about Ryan's conduct. He kept it factual: inappropriate relationship, conflict of interest, risk to the team's integrity. As night fell, Sarah texted, "I'm at my parents'. Can we talk?" Jake didn't reply. He picked Lily up from her friend's house, her smile a fleeting relief. "Where's Mom?" she asked, climbing into the car. Jake forced a grin. "She's working late, kiddo. Just you and me tonight." He'd tell her the truth soon, but not yet. For now, he'd shield her, even as his own heart fractured. The confrontation was over, but the real fight for Lily, for justice, was just beginning. Jake woke to Lily's quiet humming in the kitchen, her crayons scattered across the table as she drew a picture of their dog. He forced a smile, masking the storm inside him. Sarah's absence left the house eerily still, but he had no time to dwell. Today, he'd meet his lawyer to secure Lily's future. He packed her school bag, drove her to class, and promised to pick her up for ice cream. Her trusting nod tightened the knot in his chest. He'd protect her, no matter the cost. At the law office, Jake sat across from his attorney, Karen, a sharp woman with a no-nonsense approach. He handed over his evidence. The motel video, screenshots of Sarah's text with Ryan, and a timeline of her meetings. Karen scanned the files, her pen tapping. "This supports a strong case for primary custody," she said. "We'll argue Sarah's actions destabilized Lily's environment." Jake nodded, his focus laser-sharp. "I just want what's best for my daughter." Karen outlined the next steps. File for temporary custody, request a psychological evaluation for Lily, and prepare for a hearing. Back home, Jake checked his email. The school board had responded to his complaint about Ryan, scheduling an emergency meeting tomorrow. Parents had already started a group chat, buzzing with rumors about the coach's misconduct. Jake didn't engage. He let the evidence speak. Instead, he called Lily's teacher, asking about her behavior. "She's quieter," the teacher admitted. "Asked about her mom a lot." Jake's throat tightened. He'd shielded Lily from the truth, but her questions were growing. That afternoon, Sarah texted, "I'm sorry. Can I see Lily?" Jake stared at the message, anger flaring. He typed a reply, but deleted it. Karen had advised supervised visits until the court ruled, and Jake wouldn't bend. He responded, "We'll follow the legal process. Lily's well-being comes first." Sarah didn't push back, her silence a small victory. Jake turned his focus to dinner, cooking Lily's favorite tacos to keep their routine steady. At the school board meeting, Jake sat in a packed room, parents whispering as Ryan stood before the panel. The board chair read Jake's complaint aloud, citing Ryan's inappropriate relationship with the player's parent. Ryan's defense was weak, claiming it was personal, not professional. Jake stood, voice firm. "He violated trust. My daughter's on his team. How can we feel safe?" Other parents nodded, their murmurs growing. The board deliberated briefly before suspending Ryan pending a full investigation. He left the room, head low, avoiding eye contact. That evening, Lily curled up on the couch, her drawing now a half-finished family portrait. Jake and her, no Sarah. "When's Mom coming home?" she asked, her voice small. Jake knelt beside her. "Mom's staying with Grandma for now. But she loves you, and we're figuring things out." Lily nodded, unconvinced, and hugged her stuffed bear. Jake's heart ached, but he read her a bedtime story, his voice steady to anchor her. The next day, Karen called. The court had granted Jake temporary custody, with Sarah allowed supervised visits twice a week. A hearing for permanent custody was set for next month. Jake exhaled, relief mixing with dread. He picked Lily up from school, her smile faint but real when he suggested a park visit. At the playground, she swung high, laughing, but her eyes darted to the parking lot, as if expecting Sarah. Sarah arrived for her first supervised visit at a community center, a neutral space with a social worker present. Jake watched from a distance as Lily hesitated, then approached her mother. Sarah offered a coloring book, her hand shaky. Lily took it but stayed quiet, drawing alone. The social worker noted Lily's reluctance, her report critical for the custody case. Jake drove home, Lily clutching her new book but saying little. "Did you have fun?" he asked. She shrugged. "I miss how it was." Jake's resolve hardened. He met with a child psychologist, who recommended routine to stabilize Lily's emotions. Jake enrolled her in an after-school art class, hoping creativity would help her process. At home, he kept their evenings full, board games, bike rides, anything to spark her joy. But Sarah's visits remained strained. Lily answered in monosyllables, her trust fractured. Sarah texted Jake after one session. "She hates me." Jake didn't respond. His focus was Lily, not Sarah's guilt. Meanwhile, the school board fired Ryan. The investigation confirmed his relationship with Sarah violated ethics policies, and parents refused to let him return. Ryan's truck vanished from Willow Creek, rumors swirling he'd moved to a nearby town. Jake didn't care where he went. His betrayal had cost him everything. Jake turned his energy to the custody hearing, gathering teacher statements and Lily's drawings as evidence of her emotional shift. Each step forward felt heavy, but he'd fight for his daughter, no matter how long it took. Jake stood outside the Willow Creek courthouse, his tie loosened under the morning sun. Today's custody hearing would decide Lily's future. He clutched a folder of evidence, teacher reports, psychologist notes, and Lily's drawings, each a silent testament to her emotional turmoil. Inside, Karen, his lawyer, reviewed their strategy, emphasized Jake's stability and Sarah's role in destabilizing Lily's life. Jake's stomach churned, but he focused on one goal: keeping his daughter safe. In the courtroom, Sarah sat across the aisle, her hands folded tightly. She glanced at Jake, her eyes pleading, but he looked away. The judge, a stern woman with sharp glasses, called the hearing to order. Karen presented their case first, detailing Sarah's affair with Ryan and its impact on Lily. "My client has been a consistent caregiver," Karen said, gesturing to Jake. "He's ensured routine, emotional support, and safety, while Ms. Harper's actions disrupted their daughter's well-being." She submitted the motel video and text screenshots, each piece tightening the case. Sarah's lawyer countered, arguing she acted out of regret, not malice. "Ms. Harper seeks to rebuild her bond with Lily," he said, presenting her therapy records. Sarah took the stand, her voice unsteady. "I made a mistake, but I love my daughter. I'm working to be better." The judge nodded, her expression unreadable. Jake watched, his jaw tight, knowing love alone couldn't erase the damage. The psychologist's testimony shifted the room's mood. She described Lily's withdrawal, her reluctance during Sarah's visits, and her stronger bond with Jake. "Stability is critical for Lily now," she said. "Mr. Harper provides that." A teacher's statement echoed this, noting Lily's brighter demeanor in Jake's care. When Jake took the stand, he spoke plainly. "Lily needs a home where trust isn't a question. I'll give her that every day." His voice held steady, though his hands gripped the chair. The judge recessed for deliberation. Jake stepped outside, calling Lily's art teacher to check on her. "She's painting a mural today," the teacher said. "Happier than I've seen her in weeks." Jake exhaled, the news a small anchor. Back inside, the judge returned, her ruling clear. "Primary custody is granted to Mr. Harper," she said. "Ms. Harper will have supervised visits, with mandatory counseling to support rebuilding the relationship." Sarah's shoulders slumped, but she nodded, accepting the terms. Jake drove to pick up Lily, the court's decision bittersweet. At the art studio, Lily ran to him, holding a canvas of a bright sun over a field. "For our wall, Dad," she said, grinning. He hugged her, promising to hang it tonight. At home, they cooked spaghetti, Lily stirring the sauce with exaggerated care. Her laughter filled the kitchen, a sound Jake hadn't heard in weeks. He kept the court details from her, focusing on their routine, homework, stories, normalcy. Sarah's next visit came a week later. At the community center, Lily brought her mural, showing it to her mother hesitantly. Sarah smiled, asking about the colors, and for the first time, Lily answered without looking away. The social worker noted progress, though small. Jake watched from afar, relief mixing with caution. He wanted Lily to heal, even if it meant Sarah's slow return to her life. He texted Sarah after, "Keep showing up for her. That's what matters." Meanwhile, Ryan's absence became permanent. The school board's investigation ended with his termination, and parents' outrage ensured he couldn't coach in nearby towns. A local news blog reported his move to Columbus, where he took a warehouse job, his once charismatic reputation buried under scandal. Jake didn't dwell on it. Ryan's consequences were his own. His focus stayed on Lily, whose art classes and soccer games brought back her spark. Weeks later, Lily asked to call her mom. Jake dialed Sarah, handing Lily the phone. "Can you come to my art show?" Lily asked, her voice soft but hopeful. Sarah agreed, her tone eager. At the show, Sarah stood quietly as Lily presented her mural, clapping with the crowd. Lily glanced at Jake, then ran to Sarah, offering a quick hug. Jake's chest tightened, not with anger, but with cautious hope. He'd never trust Sarah again, but Lily's smile was worth the effort. Back home, Jake hung Lily's mural above the couch. She curled up beside him, flipping through a comic book. "Dad, are we okay?" she asked, her eyes searching. Jake nodded, pulling her close. "We're more than okay, kiddo. We've got this." The house fell whole again, not perfect but honest. Sarah would rebuild her bond in time, but Jake's role was clear: be the father Lily could always count on. As they read together, the weight of betrayal lifted, replaced by the quiet strength of a new beginning.